Hi, all. The devil made me do it. You know, I've been lecturing to you these weeks, and I realize that's no longer my job. Without knowing it, with all the changes happening with the company, I I put on 17, 18 pounds, totally unaware. I was eating for distraction. I was eating for comfort. And what I want to do today is share my experience with you and hopefully open a whole new dialogue that we haven't done before. I also noticed that I've only been talking about losing weight, phase one, when this program is a life program, not just losing the weight, but learning to eat again and keeping it off. When I first met Dr. Chu, I weighed almost 300 pounds. We're not going to go through the whole issue of him getting me to assist him. We're going to get to the point where he had trained me, and he said to me, Dr. Schwartz, and he never called me anything other than Dr. Schwartz. He said, Dr. Schwartz, and I'm going to use his words. He said, you cannot be a fat weight loss doctor. And I looked at him and I said, what are you talking about? He said, how much do you weigh? And I got on a scale and I weighed almost 300 pounds. 300 pounds is obese. And he said, you're going to go on the program. And in 3 months, I lost 84 pounds. I've never put that weight back on, but this last month or so, as I began to refocus on everything that was changing, I wasn't paying attention and I went back to my old habits. I was eating for distraction. I was eating for comfort. I was eating because the old habits were there. And I decided that what I'm going to do is share with you what's been going on. Now, first and foremost, when I say the devil made me do it, that was the image I had. There are voices that I hear. No, they're not ethereal voices. They don't come from the heavens. They come from inside me. And all of those voices have been talking to me most of my life. And now it's time we looked at them and see if we can together learn what's happening. I realized at the beginning of the month of January that I was up almost 18 pounds. I didn't want to deal with it because there were so many things going on with going to AccuLife from AccuWeight, from opening offices to getting the new website set up. And I, without any awareness, had fallen back into my old habits. I didn't want to hear. I didn't want to know. I just wanted to escape, and I would sit. I'd put something in my mouth. And here I was talking to you, and you couldn't see it because I have this Dr. Schwartz coat. But I was up 17 pounds. Went on the program. Yes, I've lost the 17 pounds, but it's that experience I want to share with you. First and foremost, I had to ask myself what this was all about. And I realized that I was fed up. And so I was using food because food gave me distraction, gave me escape, it gave me comfort. I don't say I was a closet eater, but I was doing what I shouldn't have been doing. And I decided to go on the program. That in itself was something that I had to really think about. Because my first thought was, what am I giving up? I'm going to feel deprived. I've been doing all this kind of thing, and hey, I'm going to not be able to do it. I'm going back into prison. And I have always looked at my weeks when I do a cleanse and a detox on the program. I always see that first week because I do those usually 2 weeks at a time when I do it for cleansing and detoxifying. I see that as a prison. I'm in a cage because I'm only allowed to eat between 12 and 6. And the fact that I know the program works was not the issue. The question has been, and I'm asking myself this, why are you doing this? You can back off, nobody will know. And I couldn't do it because I had Dr. Chu in my head saying to me, you cannot be a fat weight doctor. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because, as I say, I've been lecturing to you. And I shouldn't be lecturing to you. I should be teaching you and exploring with you and finding out things that we can grow together. And what I was with that 17 pounds, and I'll admit it now, but I wouldn't have admitted it end of December, beginning of January, I was depressed. I was angry. I was frustrated. I was depressed. But I ignored the fact that I was depressed. And what I would do is I was a closet eater. I would just shut down and I would do what I did. And I had gotten to be 17 pounds heavier, which blew my mind because it was affecting my sleep and it was affecting my energy. And I was angry with myself. And that's another point. I was getting up in the morning, and instead of looking forward to the day, I was angry because I was making excuses to myself for doing what it is that I was doing. And I knew that I was making these excuses because this is what I had learned over my lifetime. You see, and I've shared with you the fact that I was a learning disabled, dyslexic, hyperactive kid, and that it was difficult to have relationships with people because I couldn't concentrate, I couldn't read, and the only satisfaction I got was when people were not around, I would put something in my mouth. And you want to know something? It's an absolute truth. When I put something in my mouth, and I chew on it like peanuts, like candy. It tastes good. I like it. I like the crunch. It makes me feel good. And for a moment or two, I'm someplace else. It's it's just quiet and peaceful. And it always bothered me because I recognized I was lying to myself. And the question is, with a guy who's as lucky as I am, here we are today, and with all the issues that I had as a child, I'm Dr. Schwartz and I'm talking to you today. And I have so much to be grateful for, but I wasn't in control. And that's the big thing. I wasn't in control of my own behavior. My behavior was controlling me. So, question number one, and that's what we need to talk about. Why the heck did I go on the program? Why did I admit to myself that I was going to be doing something that I was not happy about? I'm not happy being on the weight loss part of the program. I felt deprived. I felt depressed. I felt angry. And I kept it a secret. I told no one, especially you guys. I didn't tell you. And then I realized that what I had been telling you was my truth. I didn't like the me that I was getting up in the morning with. And I couldn't escape me because wherever the heck I turned, whatever the heck I did is, these other parts of my personality were following me. And the only way I could get them to shut up was those times when I was cheating, when I was putting something in my mouth. Because when I was putting something in my mouth, for those few short minutes, it emptied it out. And then I realized I was not the boss of my own life. I was not taking care of me. And I was hiding behind the fact that I was Dr. Schwartz and teaching you. Now, everything I taught you, everything I teach you is valid, but it's only valid if you believe in it. And I guess I was not believing with it because all the baggage that I had been carrying with me was still with me. So the first thing I had to do is ask myself, why am I doing this? And that is very interesting. By the way, I've been spending time with people on the program this few weeks as well. And I'm going to share with you some of the experiences that I had because they taught me that when I truly connect with you, you can help me as much as I can help you. The reason I want to lose weight is because of the fact that it makes me feel so incredibly good. And I realized that cheating, and think about this, for me, cheating had become a method of self-love. Now, it's negative, but when I was sitting there cheating and doing that, I was loving me for taking care and comforting me. I complained about it, I was annoyed about it, I was upset about it, but when the anger hit me, when the frustration hit me, when whatever it was, I could escape, I could sit down, and you see, I love me. Look at me. And that in itself was a revelation because I was lying to myself and I didn't realize that I was lying to myself because my history of using food for comfort and making believe it was because I had no insight and understanding of that I did not know that I wasn't loving myself. And I realized also that all that I was doing was focusing on weight loss. Now, if you only focus on weight loss, the thought came to me, then what? Nothing happens, your life doesn't change, everything goes on the way it does, but you can say, oh, I lost X amount of pounds. Now, I was one of the lucky ones because when I lost my initial 84 pounds, Dr. Chu was on me constantly. In fact, I think I told you, he made me go 2 full weeks, and it took about 8 to 10 weeks until it happened. He was on me to do putting on beads and introducing people to the program, etc. But until I went 2 full weeks without making even one mistake, if I made a mistake, the 2 weeks started over again. And I was angry with him, and I told him so. And that's when he said to me what I shared with you. And I've never forgotten that. I paraphrase it and I say, he said to me, you cannot be an overweight doctor. What he said to me was, you're fat, you're not focused, and you can't do this until you take care of yourself. And because he was on me without emotion, and that was the beautiful part of it, he never judged me. He was 30 years younger than me, and all he would say was, you made a mistake, the 2 weeks start all over again. Don't make a mistake, the 2 weeks will end. And I would look at him and he would say, you and I both know that you can go 2 weeks if you're focused and paying attention and not make a mistake. You're not ready to say, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to like doing it because I want to see the end of the week, the end of the 2 weeks. And it took me about 3 months before I could actually go 2 weeks without making a mistake. And that's when he said to me, you're ready. Now, I've made a mistake with you. I've only been looking at weight loss. Now, weighing less is only an issue if your commitment is clear. And that's why in January, before I started, I sat down and I said to myself, why the heck are you doing this? What are you going to get out of it? And I realized for me, I was not happy with how I was acting and behaving and camouflaging by being the professor and teaching you. Because I was teaching you all good stuff, but I was not using that good stuff for me. And therefore, I shortchanged you and I shortchanged me. And when I realized after the first week that I had not made a commitment to all three phases. That I was just thinking of deprivation. I was thinking of all those negative kinds of feelings, the escapism that was attached to it. And I was in my thoughts. I stopped and I said, "What are you angry about?" Now, I think I've told you in the past that anger is hurt that is not expressed, suppressed inside yourself, and explodes. But I wouldn't let it explode. And that's where the depression came from. Because I was holding in the anger, because I was hiding from myself and didn't want to admit that I was hiding from myself. So step one for me was sitting down and saying, "Why are you doing this?" And that picture that you saw when we were announcing this program, absolutely real. Devil and angel, one on each side, both talking to me. And when I said the devil made me do it, I had to finally admit to me that I was not paying attention to those voices. Now, those voices, I realized, they didn't come out of the sky. They were my voices, parts of my personality. Stuff I had learned, as I told you, the negativity of my using food for comfort and thinking it was a methodology of loving myself. It was a habit. It was a behavior I developed. I talked about it because I had deceived myself into believing it was self-love. Now, it's easy to deceive yourself if you're not paying attention. It's easy to deceive myself when I can pontificate. See, one of the wonderful things, and we've talked about it before, is us interacting and me interacting with you. But I realized in talking to patients this week, I have learned so much about my new self that it's incredible. People's experience and what they're sharing with me has made me really feel good. Because people were sharing with me when I would say things to help me. They wanted to help me, and we were in that process of helping ourselves. Now, in preparing for tonight, I took some notes, and I'm going to try to share them with you. And I don't want to go back to being the professor. I'll answer questions. I'll interact with you. But we're going to learn together. And if we do, we're both going to come out on the other side of the forest feeling a heck of a lot better about it. Now, I'm putting on glasses because reading my own notes sometime is hi, America. Hi, Julie. Hi, Debbie. Oh, thank you, guys. It's nice to know you're out there. Now, let's understand something. The reason I put on the weight initially, remember, I was a psychologist for over 50 years. And think about that. For 50 years, no one ever came to see me who was happy. Why would anyone come to see a psychologist if they were happy? So for 50 years, I sat there and helped and listened. And I was very fortunate. I had a practice that was terrific. People thought I was a terrific psychologist. And then one day, and I had no idea whatsoever, I was driving to work, and one of those voices that I talk about popped in and said, "It's a beautiful day. Why the heck are you going to the office?" And I was startled to hear my thought. And I tried to ignore it. And the voice wouldn't shut up. And I went to work, and it was one of the most difficult sessions I had ever had. Because the patient came in, I was doing what a psychologist does, is guide and listen and interact and talk. But that voice wouldn't shut up. And I had to work extremely hard to block out the thoughts that were coming to me. I finished the session. I had no idea what had gone on. But I'll tell you, looking back, what I had was, they call it nowadays, burnout. I didn't want to listen and hear what people were saying and doing. I was drained. I was doing what I was doing, and I just couldn't do it anymore. And guess what? I blossomed to almost 300 pounds. And I don't have to tell you what was going on to go and gain. And that's when destiny intervened and Dr. Chu came into my life. So I'm not any different than you. The reason you call me doctor is because I went to a certain kind of school, I had a certain kind of education, and based upon that education, they call me doctor. But other than that, I'm just like you. And just like you, I was not prepared for dealing with me. I was dealing with comfort. I was dealing with escape. So when I went on the program, the first week on the program, the conversation I was having was, this is not deprivation. You're choosing to do it. And I had to keep reminding myself that I was choosing to do it. I put on 17 pounds, and they just came on. And I had put on those 17 pounds because I wasn't paying attention to me. Now, can I be important to me if I'm not paying attention to me? So why in heaven's name did I make myself unimportant to me? And the answer is habit. All the things I'd learned over my lifetime to get comfort and escape because of the experiences that I had. But I was very fortunate, and I've told many of you that if it weren't for certain women teachers and colleagues who focused me, and every single one of them was a female. And the reason is I could open up to a female, but I wasn't ready to share with any of my friends. And I wasn't ready to share with any of my friends because I recognized on some level that I didn't trust them. I believed, and remember, I was a learning disabled, dyslexic kid. I believed that they would make fun of me and I would have to defend myself. And I didn't want to do that. So that's why I've shared with so many of you, especially you of the female persuasion, that I love you. I'm not in love with you. I'm paying back all those years that brought me to today because women have saved my life, and this is payback. Now, the key is during this first week, I had to constantly remind myself that I was doing this only to weigh less. And what I said was the truth. You got to be nuts to do this. Who the heck wants to live this way? You got to be nuts to do this unless it's important to you and you're going to do this because you're going to get something out of it. Well, I'm in phase 1. I'm not finished yet. I've lost the 17 pounds, but I'm now calling patients who come into the office and I'm interacting with every one of them. And the reason I'm interacting is this is what we have to do. And we have to recognize that weighing less is for a reason. And I do complain. I complain to me. But I don't know about you. Did you ever have a complaint that changed anything? And I realized that I had to change my thinking. And when I realized I had to change my thinking, I had another problem. I'm very comfortable doing things the way I do things. Whether they're good or bad, it's not the issue. I'm very content doing things the way I do things. But if I'm going to go on the program and I'm going to weigh less, I have to accept the fact that for a period of time, I have to change. And this was a revelation because any change, I don't know about you, change makes me uncomfortable. I don't know what to expect. The feelings are all new. The feelings fill me. And then there are the voices. And one of the things I've come to recognize is what I learned as a psychologist. Unless we have a psychosis of some sort, these voices are part of my personality. And they have what it is they have based upon their experiences in life. I am the dominant personality. Those are other personalities of mine, but they're not dominant. One of them is the good guy, and the other one is the temptation guy. And I became to realize that if I'm the center and I'm in charge, I started to look at them as being children. I'm the adult and they are the children. Now, once I can accept the fact that those voices are children, I can become the parent and I can parent myself as well. Now, you know the kind of parent you would really want. Are you the parent of you that you really want to be? Does it make you feel good? And do you recognize there are certain behaviors, and this was a revelation to me, that I was doing only because of the fact that I was tired of, all right already, and I give in, and then guilt and remorse. And this is what everybody was telling me. Everybody seems to have these same kinds of things. And I noticed something very, very interesting. All of these voices say two words. They usually say more than two words, but they only say two words that I was really paying attention to. And they have a right to say these two words. The words were, I want. And I realized that's true. If you're a kid, I want what I want when I want it now, and I don't want to hear. I want it, it's going to make me feel good. I want it, give it to me. I want it, give it to me. And these voices, I was going to say attack you, because I couldn't think of another word just now. But these voices don't stop until I finally say, all right already, and I compromise and give in. And then I feel guilt and remorse, and I feel stupid. And then I realize that I'm not parenting me. I'm not being, for me, the parent that I'm happy with. When I get up in the morning, and I told you this, I don't like this guy who put on 17 pounds, and he didn't even tell me. The fact that I was aware of it is irrelevant. I went X period of time and put on 17, almost 18 pounds. Now, how the heck does that happen without awareness, without paying attention, without loving myself, being my parent and being the parent of me? And so I started a dialogue. One of those voices would pop up. I would say, with a thought, you have a right to want. I understand fully. But let's talk about it. No, you can't cross the street without holding my hand. But I wanna, you can't cross the street without holding my hand. But I can cross the street. You can't cross the street without holding my hand. So I'm going to give you something. I'm going to give you a direction. And the direction is, you want to cross the street? Fine, you hold my hand. Otherwise, you can't cross the street. And I realized I was being the parent of me, because that child voice, it's part of me. But it's a child part of voice, and children have no experience with life. And we have experiences with life, but if we're not paying attention to what the heck is going on around us, we learn very little, and we develop patterns of behavior which make us unhappy. And being professor for a moment, remember what I said. One of the things that I discovered, and it's true for all of us want what we want when we want it. We all have that within us. But if you have free reign, it's dangerous as heck. These two people on my left and right shoulder are parts of me, but they're children. They know what they know, they want what they want, and that's it. And they don't have any good feeling when I say no. And they will bug me and bug me and bug me and bug me until I break down and give in. And I know that to be true because I've been doing it. And so therefore, the thought suddenly came to me. How do I parent myself like how I'm parenting myself and also answer them? How do I give them? And I did that by taking their sentence, I want, blah, 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 and stopping with, I want. And I said to them during this week of program, you want? Absolutely. And that's where the Tic Tacs came in. I'm going to give you a Tic Tac and it's good for you. I don't want a Tic Tac. And my answer was, I understand, but I love you. You want, so I'm giving you. And here's your I want. And what's happened over this week is the pressure from them has gone down. Something. And it's because, number one, I'm feeling good about the fact that I'm taking care of me. And I'm aware of the fact that I'm taking care of me. I'm not harming anyone else. I'm making myself important to me. And I like it better when I get up in the morning and I realize when I get on the scale or whatever that it's working. I wanted to weigh less. And it's working. And it's working because I am parenting myself and I see it in kind of way. I'm saying this is good. I'm saying I'm important enough to be paid attention to. I'm important enough to parent parts of myself. Those parts of myself have every right to want, but they're only kids. They don't understand anything. They have no experience in life. And I'm so used to them that I stopped listening or stopped hearing. And these are the kinds of things that we need to begin to look at. So, let's take a look at some of the stuff because I didn't write down everything to ignore it. Listen to what I wrote because these were my truths. I became tone deaf to myself. I had reached almost 300 pounds. I was only happy when I was eating and had given up blaming myself. I mean, in my head, it's not my fault. It makes me feel good. I have a right to feel good. And I stopped caring. What took precedent was the fact that when I would cheat, I had peace, I had quiet, I had comfort. And that became a habit. Not necessarily a good habit, but a habit. Now, I noticed something else. In each office, uh, there it's a chiropractic office, and next door there is a general practitioner, a physician, and they decided they were going to have lunch, and they invited me. I'm on the program. I wasn't eating. I just had something it was a milk day, excuse me, and I just had some diet soda. And the physician saw me massaging my beads and asked what that was. And I explained. And the physician said to me, that's really stupid. You're doing this and eating all of this. You're really going to get sick. And I started to defend myself when I suddenly realized I was a fool. He had nothing in terms of insight and understanding into our program. Nothing. He heard what I had to say about the beads and the fact that it impacts on the hypothalamus, and immediately said, for whatever his reasons were, that I was wrong. And I realized that any conversation that I had with him would be fruitless. And the reason it was, he was not having a conversation with me to try to understand what was going on. He was trying to get me to agree with him. Now, what the heck kind of conversation is that? If he's right, I'm wrong. And if I'm right, he's wrong. And he wasn't going to, on any level whatsoever, allow me to be right. And when I realized that, the thought in my head was, what the heck are you arguing with him for? You're going to prove to him he's got an opinion. His opinion is right, and therefore your opinion is wrong. So no matter what you say or do, he's not going to hear you. He's going to say you're wrong, and therefore he's right, and he's going to try to get you to agree with him. And so I suddenly stopped, and I said, you know something? I realized something about our conversation. And he said, what's that? And I said, that you care enough about me to share with me your concerns. And you're very strident about it. And you want me to hear that you're worried about me and you care about me and you think what I'm doing is foolish. And I appreciate that. It really makes me feel good that you care enough about me to share those opinions. And he shut up because he had no place to go. I stopped arguing with him. I said, thank you. I appreciate the fact that you care about me. And he had no place to go because I had said, thank you. I don't need to prove to him anything. You don't have any need to prove anything to anyone. You have to like the you that you are. I woke up in the morning 17 pounds heavier, and I didn't like the me that I was getting up in the morning with. Now, from my perspective, I recognized I couldn't escape me no matter where I go, what I do. The me that I am, this guy that I get up in the morning with, I wasn't happy with. He put on 17, almost 18 pounds, and he didn't tell me. Now, isn't that an interesting? He didn't tell me. I had no idea what's going on. And going through life and not knowing what's going on because I didn't value myself enough to parent myself. I was too busy being Dr. Schwartz. Now, I think it's wonderful being Dr. Schwartz. I've learned so much and I've helped so many people with their lives. But I was not aware of the fact, and that's that burnout that I told you about, that I was meeting person after person after person after person, and no one ever came to see me who was happy. Now, I was fortunate because I was performing a service, I was helping people, but it was draining me. Oh, I see Yvonne showed up here this evening as well. Hi, Yvonne. We've got a whole audience here today. That's really good. Now, this is what we've got to do. And I'm not sure how to really do it. I need to interact with you on any level whatsoever, and we have to acknowledge and see this is something that I have believed for a very, very long time. And let's talk about the fact that you want to weigh less. Okay? Forget about your reasons for a moment. Let's accept the fact that the reason you want to weigh less is a good reason. Okay? Let's also recognize that if you're going to weigh less, you're going to be in conflict because the power of food is never, ever, 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 ever going to go away. And therefore, the power of food is going to conflict with your wanting to weigh less. Let's also recognize that I was a psychologist for over 50 years, and I would help people gain insight into what it is that was troubling them. And with that insight, over a period of time, they could change their behavior. But one of the things that I learned, and this is something that is so important to me and why I need you as well, is we all have insights. We all have these. And if we share those insights, we don't have to go into therapy. And the reason we don't have to go into therapy, if I break it down into a very simplistic form, those children that I hear in my head who say I want have every right to want. But because they are children and I am parenting them, I can't allow totally the I want to be given. Allowing that child to cross the street without holding my hand is terrible parenting. Loving parenting is teaching the child to turn left, to look right, to walk across the street when there's no traffic, going through this whole kind of thing over a period of time where the child learns how to cross the street. Okay? We don't have to do that because we have the Tic Tacs. You see, the thought that blows my mind is if you accept the fact that you want to weigh less, you accept the fact that you have to change your behavior. But then you have to accept the fact that in order to change your behavior, it's not for the rest of your life. And we have been focusing on only weighing less. And we can stop weighing less if we accept the fact that those I wants are temptations and that we break down and we give in to them. Now, we could go into therapy and learn everything about them, including the triggers, and spend the time and the energy and the effort. Instead, all we have to do is recognize, and I laugh when I say it because it's so easy. If I put those Tic Tacs in my mouth, I recognize that those voices lose their power. Because the moment I put those Tic Tacs in my mouth, the flavor fills my mouth, and I can't cheat even if I want to, because the combination of taste is going to taste like crap, C-R-A-P, and I'll spit it out. So I don't have to go through this. But I have to accept the fact that I'm parenting myself and I love myself. So instead of going through this whole process of should I, shouldn't I, should I, I'm going to say, there's the possibility that I'm going to break down. I don't want to do that. So I'm putting Tic Tacs in my mouth and now I'm done. Because I've given in to the I want. I'm giving a Tic Tac. I'm giving 3 Tic Tacs. The flavor is filling my mouth and I can't break down. And then the next rule of 21 comes in. And that is I'm building a new habit with me in control, with me the boss. And I'm happy with me for being the boss because I like me when I'm the boss. Don't you like you when you're the boss? And don't you like you when you're the boss? And it turns out that what grows from that makes you really feel good. It's nice after the fact. And if you ask me, did I like the conflict? No. Did I like the voices? No, they bothered me. But I don't want to deal with it. So I'm simply going to take control. I'm going to put the Tic Tacs in my mouth. I'm going to fill my mouth with the flavor. And I'm done. No therapy. Immediate resolution to the issue. Getting to like myself more and more. And that's the other part of it. Every morning now, when I get up, I'm liking more and more the guy that I'm getting up with. Because I can say to him, and he's part of me, I can't escape him. He's part of me, and I'm saying, I like you better because you're part of me, and you're less angry, and you're less depressed, and you're getting more of whatever it is. And I'm feeling good about it because I'm parenting you and loving you. And by loving you, I realize I'm loving myself in a healthy, positive kind of way. I want to do more of this. I want to interact with you. I want to educate you, but I want more of this. Emails, questions, and we'll figure out some kind of way, if we can, also to Zoom together and interact together. But let's share our experiences and let's grow and learn and take care of ourselves. Thank you for putting up with me, and I'll see you soon.